Alright, welcome to the Grae Area, where clarity meets complexity and the truth usually lies somewhere in between. You know I'm your host, Taj Brown Archangel, whichever one you want to call me. It's cool. And today we're talking about something most of us wrestle with, whether we admit it or not. The difference between type and preference. Because when it comes to love, attraction, connection, we think we know what we want, but do we? Are we choosing people based on genuine alignment? Or are we trapped in a loop of old patterns dressed up as our type? We're gonna break it down. See where we going with it. Let's start with the word we throw around most, type. He's not my type. She's exactly my type. They're just not what I usually go for. But what does it really mean? Type is often a shortcut, an unconscious compilation of patterns we've been drawn to. It can be based on physical traits, personality types, energy dynamics, even dysfunction we've normalized. And here's the kicker. Most people's type is shaped more on familiarity than by fulfillment. That's why so many of us end up dating versions of the same person in a different body. We call it chemistry. Yeah, buddy. But sometimes it's just unhealed wounds recognizing each other. Now let's talk about preference. Unlike type, quote unquote, preference is intentional. It's reflective. It's about knowing what actually works for you, not just what pulls you in. Type is instinctive. Preference is informed. Type says, I always fall for confident extroverts. Preference says, I prefer people communicate, or I prefer people who communicate directly and make space for my quiet side. Type says, I usually date emotionally unavailable people because they seem mysterious. Preference says, I now prioritize emotional availability even if it feels unfamiliar at first. Preference is who you choose when you're no longer chasing a pattern. It's what you gravitate towards after you've done the work. Alright, for real, let's be honest though. Chasing your type can be intoxicating, but also exhausting, man. Because when your type is rooted in trauma, nostalgia, or fantasy, it doesn't lead to fulfillment, it leads to friction. We keep mistaking adrenaline for alignment, intensity for intimacy. And what do we do when our quote-unquote type keeps hurting us? We blame ourselves. Or worse, we assume love has to be dramatic to be real. But that's not love, that's repetition. Type without reflection leads to cycles. Preference born from self-awareness leads to peace. Now here's the gray area. Yeah, the real gray area. With all kinds of questions. Can your type evolve into your preference? The answer is yes, but only when it's examined. When you pause and ask, why do I keep choosing people who make me feel like I have to prove my worth? Why am I drawn to chaos even though I say I want peace? Do I actually want this person, or do I want the validation they represent? When you name the pattern, you reclaim the power. That's when you shift from being chosen by attraction to choosing from alignment. If you want to break out of unhealthy patterns, start here. What does my quote-unquote type usually look like? And what has it cost me? When I say I'm not attracted to someone, is it because they're unfamiliar or genuinely incompatible? What do I actually need to feel safe, seen, and supported? Am I choosing out of habit or out of healing? Sometimes the person who checks your type in all them boxes won't hold your heart. And sometimes the one who doesn't fit the mold is the one who finally fits you and gets you. In the end, type is what we're taught to want. Preference is what we learn to need. Type might be exciting, but preference, that's where peace lies. You don't have to abandon chemistry, but you also don't have to stay a prisoner to it as well. Learn your patterns, name your needs, and when you choose love, make it conscious. Because when you finally start choosing people who see the real you, you stop shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of love. And that is when you start to change. Oh yeah, man, it's been real. It's been real for real, for real. Hey, thanks for spending time with me here in the Grae Area, for real. It's all love on this side of the fence. This episode sparked something into you. Share it with someone you love or someone still learning how to love well. Subscribe, leave a review, and remember, just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's meant for you. And in the space between who you wanted and who you need, there's clarity waiting. Until next time, man, be easy.